Being positive is not the way to wake up, because the positivity is also one meaning is the layers. That layer has to go away, because any layer that you hold on to is how you want to express yourself.
So I want to be positive in my life. I want to not be negative. I want to be happy and outgoing, and I really try hard to do that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're telling me I'm just building up layers.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So if you really want to see who you are, then don't add layers. Don't add someone's meaning that you heard from somewhere else, that you have to be positive, you have to be nice, you have to be compassionate, you have to be kind. That is all like layers that we have been taught from all the way from our beginning of life.
Okay.
But yes, if you want to follow. But have you ever asked yourself why you follow? Then we can say like you have to ask why you follow. And then where that comes, like, because positivity is needed, because otherwise it would be all violence in the world.
Okay, so, no, I think we've already started, so let's introduce ourselves. We got ahead of ourselves, sorry, we were talking. I'm Richard.
Hey, I'm Lawrence.
And we're here to continue talking about enlightenment, and you can see we're already talking today about positivity in our life and how that's going to play out. So, I've been thinking about some stuff. We all try and be good. We all have ideas to make the world a better place. One guy who thought he could make the universe a better place was Thanos. You remember Thanos from the Marvel action universe? Like, he was trying to be good. He thought he could save the world and make it a better life for everybody by getting rid of a third of the world's universe. Was he enlightened?
Here, trying to control on the outside and thinking that, I'm going to make the world a better place. I'm going to bring balance in the world. That comes from the place of righteousness.
Right.
And when the righteousness is so heightened to a certain extent, people end up doing the action that leads to a lot of violence. Especially we have also seen right now there's a war going everywhere, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that is coming from the place of righteousness, thinking that I'm doing right.
So enlightenment has nothing to do with imposing your views on other people. Rather, It's a very individual, unique thing.
It's not a unique thing. It's not imposing our, preference, our belief and action to the world. It's nothing about that.
Right.
Enlightenment is about stepping back from the world and stepping back from our beliefs and preference and looking into ourselves. Why do we have such a preference? Why do we have such a urge to act in a certain way?
Right.
So we have to look into those and we have to dismantle. And dismantling all the way back is a way to wake up from the falls. But those movies, stuff is just to inspire people to, to make the environment a better place to live.
Well, it raised some good questions. I mean, you had to think about some of that stuff, right?
But movies are not real. That's another thing,
No,
it's inspiration.
But overpopulation is an issue, and what it does to the resources in the world.
But even like if we are thinking that overpopulation and is killing the planet, overconsumption is cleaning the planet, then pattern-wise it is, when we start to utilize too much, it go off balance.
Yeah.
And we cannot really fight in the world to bring balance, because even you try to do the right act that is in line with the nature's way of things, and you put out the stuff for people to listen to some of the important stuff. Yes, there are thousands of people who will listen to you, even millions of people listen to you. But how about the other people? There are trillions of people in the world.
Right.
Then you are just a grain of sand in the ocean. Ocean.
I'm only a grain of sand.
And that grain of sand doesn't even knows anything. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
But our ego self thinks that I'm doing a great thing, I'm bringing a change in the world, and that change, thinking that itself is an ego trip in a person, has so much ego righteousness to, you know, bring balance in the world.
So how? Okay, no,
and,
this is interesting then, because how do we bring balance? You're saying as an individual, it's very difficult because you're probably imposing your will on others, and that's
Always.
So that's no good. So if we try and do a collective action, like the MAGA Republicans in America, for example, they're trying to do something that they really believe in individually, collectively, for a greater cause.
But they are, even they are a grain of sand compared to the whole world.
Yeah, but their grain of sand is still trying to impose a vision on somebody.
But instead of imposing things to bring balance in life, how about people start to look into their own lives? Why do I have such a belief in me to bring put out my righteousness, belief in me to make this world a better place to live? Why do we have that thought in the first place?
It's fear. It's fear.
And instead of putting so much effort in the world, it's going to be constant fight, because there will always be someone who is rejecting your offering. It's a constant fight, and that fight is never ending. It's always someone. Even the people who are work with you right now to walk with you in your belief, even those people will eventually go against you.
Right.
And we can see that in a bigger scale. There are big company trying to be good, but their own people have a lot of friction within the company. So that is a never-ending game. And it will be on for even after we die. These things will still be there.
Okay.
But how to resolve the friction in ourselves can be done. But trying to resolve the friction outside this body in the world, it's an unending game, and people who try to involve in this kind of game will be putting their a lot of effort in the world, and that effort itself is torturing them, and people eventually give up, because when they see that their whole effort is not even working to bring the balance in the world, and they see, those people will see, even when they're dying, they see that it didn't work. Instead of going there, how about let me look into myself. Why do I have such a urge to bring balance in the world? Why do I have such ideas in me to put out my action in the world? And looking into ourselves and figuring out things in ourselves will help us to dissolve all friction in ourselves, and friction eventually, we dissolve the friction in the world by seeing, world is the natures of mind, and mind is always conflicting. We understand that.
Sounds like we need to get the whole world enlightened overnight.
No, it's not a one night thing.
No, but I mean to make a better world.
Yeah, to make a better world, enlightenment is the way. But how to do that? Each individual have to step back from their righteousness or the violent act they have in them to put out. Let's step back and let's figure it out. And that individual act can actually brings already non-engagement in a way that the world is already getting better.
Okay, so you make me raise a question about enlightened peoples, and I've read a lot and seen films about Tibet and how it used to be. Was that an enlightened group of people mainly? They were different. They were afraid to kill worms. They were, they treated everything as sacred. Were they enlightened people?
But even, this, everything moves with the, ideas. The whole world is moving with
ideas.
the idea,
Yeah.
And,
or were they spiritual or enlightened?
Like, it's the worldly move, the outer move has nothing to do with, who we are.
Right.
Here, to survive, to live, to go on living, we have to feed on another living being. Or otherwise, how would this be possible?
Yeah.
Even like you are vegetarian, you have to kill you have to chop up the plant to
live.
make your meal to
Yeah.
survive. So how non-violence is a way to be spiritual. That is the not knowing how things work. There's a lot of misunderstanding, misperception in the people.
So you have to
and
understand our basic nature first.
yeah, if you understand the basic nature, then we see that every human being or all animal, everything that living and breathing has to feed on something. Otherwise, and if we see that, then we see that the violence is always there.
So it's an inherent part of our existence,
Yes, it is.
whether you're not enlightened or enlightened. But once you are enlightened, you have a different perception.
After enlightenment, that it's about understanding the essential need and just going with that. Yeah, you just understand the nature way of things, and then you understand how much you need. Not how much you want, but you need how much you need.
Right.
And you go with the needs.
Which creates sustainability,
Yes,
which creates a better, more positive
the
approach.
balanced way.
A balanced way.
Yeah, will be revealed. Will come on the surface for the individual to how to go on every day.
Right.
In life.
Right.
So.
Okay, that's interesting. It drives me crazy. Live in Hong Kong, and there's not really recycling here, which is a crime. So the other day, I'm throwing a can of cat food into the garbage, and it's a metal can, and it's going into the garbage, and it's going to go into landfill. It really drives me nuts. So the way that things are being done, because we overconsume, because we don't know what we need. We know what we want, we consume, companies produce all of this extra packaging and waste, and it's non-recyclable, or if it is, it's hard to do. Everything seems out of balance right now.
Again, this whole thing is sustained and running in such a way is it's coming from the place of experience. Something is more workable than others, and whatever works, we try to put that in the world and to implement that in the world, and use it to kind of reshuffle things. That's what that is. Rather than throwing everywhere, right? There's a specific area it goes there, and hopefully people are what do you call that, segregating. Sorting out where what things will go where to make it more sustainable.
But it's even deeper than that. I don't want to go too much into this, it's off topic, but it's related. We're such a consumer society that it's out of balance. We buy a shirt, it's wrapped in tissue paper, it's got a sticker on it, it goes into a bag. It's just a waste. So the whole thing the way we're living life in the last 50, 100 years is just very destructive. There's no balance to it, right? It's consumerism, and I would say it's incredibly unenlightened approach to existence. It's just not knowing what we really need, but what we want. Consumerism. We want everything.
This whole thing is emerging from the place of our education as well. Our society has already put out that we have to do better, we have to get better. We have to because of the better and better and better. Because of that mentality, we're trying to try everything and try to seek for the best good stuff, and because of the trial and error of going to the to pick the best, trying to go to the best scenario possible, we are using so many things in between, and that is a waste.
Yeah.
you know. So the world is moving in a trial and error process, you know.
Yeah.
And the trial and error makes people use a lot of stuff and becomes a waste, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, basically, we don't need much stuff in life, you know. If you stick to the essentials, then also that will help us to cut down all the unnecessary waste, you know, in
So
life.
simplicity. We need a simple
Yes.
approach to help us wake up, right?
Yes, you know, basically simplicity will be a good start, but it doesn't help you to wake up because the simplicity has to go as well. Simplicity will be is equal to essentials. If you maintain that in life, then we are not over consuming, you know.
Right.
But you know, nowadays I see that people are putting out the simplicity in the world, but to get to that simplicity as well, they are, you know, using so much of things to bring that simplicity.
Right.
That
so it's
simplicity-
oversimplified
That is coming from a lot of
in a
trial and error.
complicated way. Yeah.
You know, and the trial and error takes a lot of stuff to get there, you know.
Right.
Basically you know, again, this is all outside the truth, you know. And if people if people are watching this video, and if you think that you know, you need to put out your action that needed to bring balance in the world, in the environment, then you guys should ask yourself, you know, why do I have such ideas in me, you know? So looking into those ideas is better to live a non-frictional life, non-resistant life, rather than coming out in the world and telling the world that the world is doing wrong. Then that builds a. It's already wrong. We already think it's wrong. It's already think it's so messy,
Right.
and then we're trying to come out to make it a perfect place to live for human. You know, it's a constant fight again. It's the fight that will never end, and it's a way to actually torture yourself by putting yourself in such a game, and it just creates a lot of friction all the time. And after being in that path for long enough, that already builds a lot of righteousness in the person again.
So it's
it brings a lot of stubborn righteousness now. When you started, it was just a righteousness. I think it's good to do it. Now you put yourself in the game, then you see a little bit of upliftment in the game, brings a lot of good experience. Then what happens? The righteousness becomes a stubborn righteousness, and stubborn righteousness is a disease.
This sounds like Vladimir Putin in Ukraine.
Exactly. You know, like basically, all, you know, people who play with the power game.
Yeah.
And they want to be in the game, and that to maintain the game, righteousness is coming all the time, and until the righteousness is dissolved, the war will never be dissolved within and around.
So righteousness and spirituality, are they the same thing?
No,
How do they fit together?
righteousness is the ego self.
Yeah.
The true spirituality is about dissolving the ego. It's totally different.
Okay.
It's righteousness is the extension on us. It's a layer in us to express ourselves in a certain way, you know,
Right.
In a belief, as a words, or as an act,
Right.
you know, and that has nothing to do with who we are. To see the true nature of who we are, we gotta step back from
Gotta peel that away.
Yeah, we got to peel that away, and if we can't peel it away, we have to step back and look, why do I hold onto this layer, and why I feed into this layer, why do I have a hard time
Okay.
letting go, and we have to look into those things.
Let's talk about that for a minute. So really, to start the process, you have to look at everything you do and evaluate it, right? Why do I do it?
Yes.
How is it done, and is it valuable? Is it contributing to to the enlightened approach or not?
Yes, you have to evaluate for sure. And if you start to evaluate everything that you're trying to do, trying right now, then that evaluation already simplifies your life.
Yeah.
Because you start to see that there's so much make believe in what I do. We see that, and the question is, do I want to keep doing and moving with the make believe, or do I want to go with essential that what my life needs?
Right.
So that will actually sort out a lot of. It helps us to let go all the unnecessary.
Simplicity.
It brings you towards simplicity, but the simplicity has to go as well to figure out who you are.
That's the hardest part, right?
Yes, and because when you're trying to invite simplicity, that itself is another conditioning as well.
Right.
It's a conditioning, and once you maintain the simplicity in long enough, it also brings experience, and experience leaves always a residue that simplicity is the way. And that has to go as well, especially when you are okay. For example, if people are living the life already in a simple way, and that simplicity has already brought a lot of experience in them, right? Things are working in life outside in a relative functioning world.
Right.
Now what happens? Simplicity also becomes a righteousness, isn't that?
Yeah.
It becomes a righteousness.
Yeah, because
But
sure.
It could be healthy righteousness in the functioning world, but that righteousness has to dissolve to see who you are, because that simplicity is just the extension on who you are as in a functioning world to function.
Right.
And that has to go, because that is also righteousness in the person, simplicity or essential.
Okay, so just so people can understand, you have to let go of everything that it's basically built you up, all of the layers, all of the patterns in your life, everything that's conditioned you. You have to step back, look at it, and then step away from it to become, very simple, and then let go of everything. How far do you need to go?
Until you figure out who you are.
And, okay, so
that means you have to dissolve your mind until the mind is there, until the mind exists.
Well, some people may do that for a week or a day.
Until the mind is there and mind create a friction in you, that means you're not done yet. So you have to go back. Still, there's more to do. So you have to go further until the mind, is dissolved completely. That means the ego in the person has dissolved completely. The death of the ego is there. Once the death of the ego is there, then you're done. But the death of the ego is not there yet. That means you still have to peel back until the mind is done.
Yeah.
Until the mind is thoroughly cooked.
And that's
well done.
And that's a different answer for everybody, right?
No.
But how do we know?
People's perception might have
perception.
Perception.
Perception
Might be different, but the path towards seeing who
Sure.
you are is always universal, and that is death of the ego, death of the mind. Mm-hmm. So if you're walking back, you might be seeing a lot of dissolving, and that may bring a lot of different perception in the person.
Right.
But the path towards seeing who you are is only one way. That is the death of the ego.
Right. Wow. Okay, that's going to be difficult to drill down on that. I think we need a whole episode for that to see how we can determine that. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about today? I think we've got a pretty good overview.
Yeah. This is my little reference for the people. If you guys are really interested in waking up from the false self, or if you really want to dissolve your inner conflict and fear, then this is a simple approach, a simple way to wake up. Whatever ideas rises in you, you look into those ideas and you go back on that idea and see where that idea ends. You do that first. You step back on the idea, and then you also know that you hold on to certain ideas, isn't it? After going back, okay, you see where it ends. Now you also hold on to some of those ideas. Now you look into why you hold on to certain ideas, and then you go back on that. That means you go back on your fear by dismantling the fear, and then once you dismantle everything all the way back, then ask yourself, who am I?
Right.
That's it. That is the simple journey towards figuring out who you are. Go back on your idea that resurface in you. Go back on the attachment, the belief that you have, that you feed the energy into, and ask yourself, who am I? That's a simple way to wake up. You don't need much to wake up. What you need is your interest and your awareness to look in. Because you are the teacher.
You're the teacher.
You are the teacher. You don't need the teacher from the outside. The teacher from the outside is a reference.
And if you follow that reference, you're going the wrong direction. You need to do it yourself.
The reference can be right. Some of the people are putting out the reference in a correct way. But you have to walk.
Yeah. They can't walk for you. They can show you the road,
yes.
But you got to walk the path.
Yeah. But ultimate truth, you can only walk yourself to see it.
Okay.
People can only walk with you for certain period.
And then it's all up to each of us to figure it out ourselves.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, the journey towards figuring out who you are, or dissolving your, that daunting fear, inner conflict is easy.
Okay.
Right now, if you think it's not easy because you haven't walked your way, and you only have an idea in you that it's difficult. If you think it's difficult, you go back on that idea. Why do I think it's difficult? And you go back on that idea and see where that idea ends, and why you hold on to the idea. It's difficult. If you go back on that thingy, that little walking back on, I think it's difficult, can break a lot of barriers in the person to not to think in that way.
Yeah.
So
no, agreed.
So
okay.
That's my 2 cents on waking up.
I think it's more than 2 cents. That's good. So I think we're done for today, but we've done a few of these shows now, and I think we're getting some followers and people seem to enjoy it. What we'd encourage you to do is, if you could like this video, and if you have any comments, please leave them in the comment section, and maybe forward the video to a couple of friends. We're building up a followership, and I think people are enjoying this, so we're happy to share it.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. See you next time.